Soon after the election, I heard a couple people talking about how they hoped this would put more cheerful books into publishing. And I started to say that I disagree, but I felt a lot like Scrooge ruining everybody's time, and I couldn't really put into words why I felt so strongly about it. It was literally days, if not the day after the election itself. Now that I've had some time to think about it, I think I know why. Because it's been nearly a month since it happened, and it hasn't gotten any easier. Creativity in particular has been very difficult. I kind of hoped that the ache would dull with time, and I've been trying to read and write and create things, but it seems that immersing myself in a fictional mindset is quite a process nowadays. I've always been a high-stakes kind of girl. Go big or go home. My favorite contemporary stories are ones that have a lot on the line or have experiences that aren't typical. I tend to write speculative fiction myself. Science fiction and fantasy tends to lend itself towards darker stories, but I do enjoy lighthearted stories as well. It's a little funny that the fears that we're living through now are on level with the type I'd write about, but I'm certainly not enjoying living them, so it might seem strange to continue seeking them out in fiction. This motel has cable TV, which we typically can't afford, which means that the TV is pretty much on 24/7. It's a pretty nice lineup too. It even has HBO. So I've been watching HBO's newest show, Westworld. Westworld is dark. It's about a near-future sort of theme park where you can live out life in a historical western town populated with incredibly realistic androids. It's kind of like if Universal's Harry Potter theme park was fully immersive, or if the princesses at Disney parks were robots that you are allowed to do anything to, including kill. It's a look at the worst things people might do when faced without consequences, and a question about how far is too far in terms of what we can do with technology. And I'm really in love with it. I love it so much. One episode was about one of the robots realizing that there was something off about her world, and she literally antagonizes a guest into killing her so that she can explore the laboratory where they put broken robots back together. It's been one of the only things lately that can really keep my attention. I'm also reading a really sad contemporary, a fantasy about a girl who pretends to be a betrothed princess so she can kill her new husband's family, and listening to Wait For It from Hamilton and thinking about how Aaron Burr got dealt a really crappy hand. It feels like the more sad or morbid a story is, the easier it is to feel better while watching it, and I think that ties to a root all dark stories must have to survive, which is hope. I talk about hope here pretty much all the time, a broken record of optimism really. But the thing about hope in a story is that it's usually shown through motivation and determination. No matter how bad things get, characters push on and continue to fight, even if they're sure they're going to fail. There's a scene in Westworld where one of the characters is trying to convince two other people to help her escape, and they don't want to do it. They're afraid that they're going to get fired, and they're trying to convince her that she will almost certainly die. And she says, "I've died 1,000,000 times. I'm freaking great at it." Except she says something a little stronger than freaking because it's HBO, and also I'm pretty sure she was naked at the time. But anyway, what I'm getting at is I want that kind of fire in me. I want to look death right in the eye and flip him off. And dark stories do that for me. They always have. That's the thing about this election. This isn't the first time I've felt utter desolation and fear for my future. I've lived through that mindset my entire life. I've never really had undeniable stability or promise for the future, nothing that really lasts anyway. And so I've found solace in dark or high-stakes stories because when everything's on the line, everything matters. And I think that's what resonates with readers. If a character can find the motivation to fight with the devil at her back, with nothing left to live for, with certain death on the line, I can survive today. When things are really bad, I tend to find myself reaching for sad stories instead of happy ones. When people are really suffering, they need something that shows them why they should still fight, and that can't always be something that reminds them of what they've lost. There's a book I really like called A Paradise Built in Hell. It's a non-fiction book about how people come together after tragedies. The worst experiences can bring out the greatest kindness in people. I don't think facing that fear, including it in our stories, is bad. And I mean, guys, you aren't going to find a quote like, "I've died 1,000,000 times, I'm great at it," in a happy story. Why would you deny yourselves such badassery? So end the world in your stories, but make sure not to do the same in real life. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.